Well, we're back.
Oh my God, I was literally mid-sip and did not realize you were already ready to
Oh,
start.
my
Sorry.
bad, my bad, my bad, my bad. My bad. But that adds to the flavor, right? Like that's how all the true crime podcasts you listen to. I feel like they're always sipping something and as they're talking about murder. So I feel like it's right up here.
You need some warm, cozy drink to sip on while you talk about murder and mayhem. Of course.
Nuts. Uh, a lot of touch. I'll let you have that. You, Michelle Williams, and the rest of the folks.
Friends in real life.
I am in charge of the girls.
Because all I do is rest and rest.
Big fun. Big fun. Isn't that what you had? Contrary to popular opinion, I'm the head nigger in charge. King Kong ain't got shit on me.
And when you look at the credit,
Yeah.
the girlies are there.
Good Times was just always, it just felt too sad every time. I was like, they keep calling it Good Times, but like every episode is like, Lord, where's the money?
And that's friends in real life. Life.
But yeah. So for those who don't know, or those who do know, I'm Chris,
I am Tristan.
and this is Friends in Real Life. Welcome back, or if it's your
Welcome
first.
back. The podcast about movies, TV, and all the things through the perspective of two crazy kids who've been friends for a really, really long time. That's
Love
the
it.
synopsis.
That's great. I love that. I got to update our About Us page. That's great. I love that. All right. So what should we let's see. A lot is
Just
happening.
don't ask what should we talk about, like you don't know.
Well, I guess always like what should we talk about first, maybe is probably the better way to say it. I mean, we have to talk about Super Bowl, right? Like there's
Uh,
no way to not. Well, let's talk about the halftime show. We don't need to belabor the game or who
excuse
won or who
me.
didn't win. It's
Excuse
okay.
me.
Go
I
Eagles, go
I
Birds,
beg
all of that.
your
Fine.
pardon,
You know,
sir.
get my ghillie fitted. It's all cool. We're good.
Sir,
But purposes of this, we're talking about.
you're gonna give 2 seconds
Oh
to the
Lord.
birds, okay?
Yeah.
Because baby, when I like just the way they showed up, okay? Like the way the birds just showed up and showed out during that game was
Mhm.
everything that I needed. It was everything that we
We
all
all
need
needed to be
as
honest.
Americans,
Yeah.
okay? So we can't just gloss over that.
I tried.
I know you did, hater. I know you did, but we will not. As the self-respecting Philadelphian that I am, I refuse
Have it, right? You
to
were like,
not talk about how they showed
mhm.
up. It was so good. Oh, it was so good. And I didn't even watch the first half of the game because, my ADD does not really allow for me to watch four quarters of football. I can pretty much jump in after halftime, no matter what the occasion is. So, but I was getting ready to walk over to your place
Mhm.
when the game first started. And so I didn't even see the score until I was walking out of my building and they had on like the big screen in the lobby. And people were just like down there because my lobby is like weird on my side of the building with like a bar and it's like the little entertainment side is over there and that's where they do like the game nights and it leads out to the pool on that side. So people can come down there if they want to spread out a little bit and watch a game or something on the big TV down there. So there were some people down there. And as I was walking out, I just looked over and saw at that point the score was 24 nothing.
Yeah. Hmm.
Eagles all the way up. And I was like,
Dog.
oh, So I took a nice leisure stroll to your place with my head high.
Right, yeah, you walked in ready.
I was so good. So yeah, so the rest of the game, I didn't want the other side to put any points on the board, but they did, and it's fine. They still got their asses beat, and that's all I cared about. But aside from that, we had a concert.
You did have a concert.
We had
Yeah.
a whole concert. I mean, I feel like football kind of took a back seat to the bigger show, which was our good cousin Kendrick Lamar.
Mm.
So that was exciting.
Yeah, it was really interesting for many reasons. One, I feel like generally performances, halftime show performances have historically been sort of like the best, like greatest hits, like your best records from that artist.
Mhm.
But I think in his case, because this is like his second performance, it's his first time headlining, but
Right.
second time performing, it's kind of like different rules. Or he chose to apply different rules to it. So I think there was also like a lot of what is he going to do? Is he going to be able to perform this record given frivolous lawsuits and such? Who's he going to bring out? Is he going to bring out anybody besides, we knew SZA, but like, there was like, is it Doechii? Is it Janet? Is it,
Right.
is it Wayne? Is it, whoever? So yeah, I think it was a lot of anticipation. And I think they said it's the highest rated, highest watched halftime show of all time.
Yeah, it sure is. The numbers are in, and it was at the top of all Super Bowls watched in the past. And, I personally would love to see like a behind the scenes kind of like documentary about how this whole show came about. I just don't know what the thought process was behind like the concept and how they just got to the point of deciding that this is what it's going to be. Because like you said, people forget, I think, that Kendrick has done a Super Bowl before. And so a lot of times when I was hearing people say, well, why didn't he do this? And why didn't he perform that? Because he literally did it already.
Right.
He sang those songs already the last time he was there.
Yep.
So I thought it was smart for him to go with more current songs. Those of us who are fans know those songs, and those who don't know who Kendrick Lamar is at all got a chance to hear something that I think made them go and dig a little bit deeper into his catalog.
Yep.
I don't know if you heard, but GNX and Good Kid, Mad City, and Damn are now all in the top 10 again. And obviously that's from all the buzz from the Super Bowl performance. And people are just finding out who Kendrick Lamar really is now that he has been like center stage at this event, and then also had the biggest record of the year, obviously. Like coming off of that Super Bowl and that 5-time Grammy win, of course those albums are going to jump back into the, back into the conversation. People want to know who don't know, and people who do know want to know again. Like, because I certainly have been listening to Good Kid, Mad City again. That's honestly my favorite album. So
let me ask you something. Have you listened to Pimp a Butterfly recently?
I have.
You have? Okay.
I have. I went through a Kendrick like redux. Like I was like, as much as I know how on point this kid is, I feel the need to revisit some of the old work. So I took it all the way back to Section 80.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All the way back, because this is the music that I used to literally sit at my job in Philly, the job I absolutely hated. Like, we were allowed to just put on headphones, like, the type of work I do. It's very, let me be left alone and lock into this kind of stuff. So we were allowed to have headphones on and kind of, block out what was going on around us. And that was always in the rotation. Like, I have been rocking out to Kendrick Lamar for a very long time. So it was fun to see him like be introduced to a newer audience, an audience that I've personally believe needs it. You know what I mean? Like we got a lot going on right now. Um, things are not looking great, in certain climates and things in America. And I just feel like, yeah, we all want to have a good time, and we will, because especially us as a people, we always do, no matter what is going on. But at the same time, like just corny little substance-free nonsense is not really appropriate right now to me. In my like, and I'm always here for a good time, but I really do think that what he did was just the most appropriate showcase for what we're dealing with right now.
Mm.
And the people who are pissed about it are the people that I expect to be pissed about it because they're whack. And it's fine. Like the people who got it, got it. You know what I mean? So I checked in with all of my folks, making sure everybody was on the same page because, I don't surround myself with foolishness. And everybody that I hold near and dear loved it. So that's all I care about.
Yeah, I can't say the same. But I can't say the same. I think the majority of people did enjoy it. And I think even people who maybe did not enjoy the performance appreciated what the performance was and why it pissed off people. You know what I mean? Like it's I feel like that was more of the sentiment that I was seeing. I think the people who feel like Kendrick isn't really worth listening to felt that way regardless, right? So like a performance of the said music wasn't going to change that,
Right.
I feel like for me, I really like Kendrick. I think he's super talented. A lot of his music I don't re-listen to a lot because it's like and maybe it's not fair, but I was like, To Pimp a Butterfly is like watching Crash the second time. It's like it's a lot. I don't know if I'm doing this again. Like doesn't mean it's not good. Doesn't mean like the talent isn't there. And there's definitely records off that album that I listen to.
Right.
But like a full listen, I'm not. No. So I get it. But like Good Kid, Mad City. This GNX, of course. I mean, we all know how I feel about this Quinceañera project, and just in general, his body of work and how he even some of his features. You know what I mean? Like I'm still rocking with. So it's not that. It's just I was curious to see if you had been listening to it. But all right, back to the performance. Yeah, really good overall. I thought. Shout out to the choreography and just the staging of it all, and just how it was filmed. Shot, laid out. The subtle and not so subtle jabs and call outs. Amazing. Shout out to SZA.
Yeah, SZA's microphone was all the way on.
Oh no, it was not. It was it was all the way off. It was
on.
No, her microphone was off. She was not singing live. She sounded great, but that was not a live vocal. No way. Nah. She sounded great. She sounded great, but the microphone was off.
No,
but the dancing was off.
Had to give her like
the microphone.
Because you already know. Listen. I have no idea what SZA be talking about. Okay, and I don't even dislike her music. Like I recognize that sonically,
yeah,
it's bop worthy. Like I get why people like it. I have not been able to really get into it because I'm a words girl when it comes to music. And if I don't understand what you're saying, I clock out. So I just felt like for once there was like the clarity and the
you're right.
Like all the things were there, and now you're telling me that okay. Well,
I could be wrong, but as a person who A loves artists that don't always sing live, and B loves artists you can't always tell what they're saying, but the vibe is there, so I'm more interested. I don't think her mic was on. Which this is probably hot take, unpopular opinion, but a lot of folks' mics don't be fully on for Super Bowl.
I get that. It's more about the
it's the performance, and it's it's the acoustics and stuff. Like generally, stuff is usually there's some sort of backing track just in case. You know what I mean? Which is fine. That's not a dig. That's not like whatever. But I was fine with it, I guess, for those purposes. You know what I mean? but I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I thought it was interesting. A lot of drop off too. Like I feel like a lot of people did watch the halftime show and then went out. You know, they're like, all right, well, we caught what we wanted. We'll catch the game wherever we're going, or you know what I'm saying, like that.
Yeah.
So, but no, definitely dope. So, but I know we were also talking. I kind of mentioned earlier, but like other halftime shows, you know, have become a thing, right? Or there's like people's favorites and whatnot. And I feel like this is definitely on the top of most people's lists, or can be. I'm sure it's on the top of yours, or at least in the top five.
It's definitely in my top five.
Yeah.
It's definitely my top five. I think most people's fave is probably, you know, Michael Jackson, or Prince, or Beyonce.
Right.
All of those also in my top five, mind you. But this one, yeah, this one might be rounding out the top five for me because that Dr. Dre one, oh my gosh, like I just loved that so much. I loved how it was so LA. I loved, you know, the people that he brought out, how the stage was. I thought Dre killed it last year. So
Mhm.
uh, when you're putting like all of them up against each other, I think it's probably one of the hardest rankings that you could probably think of because this is where people really, I think, go all out when it comes to what you can pull off in a performance,
Yeah.
especially in such a short period of time. Like halftime
Mhm.
shows are like kind of 15 minutes
Basically, that's
at,
pretty much what you
at
get.
most.
Yeah.
And all this stuff that goes into it. So for me, it's hard. Like it's really, really hard. You have Rihanna, you have
Mhm.
you know, B, you have like so many people to consider
Yeah.
when you're thinking about a Super Bowl performance. So I do think that trying to have a favorite is really, really hard. But Kendrick's up there for me. I think he's definitely deserved the conversations that have, you know, taken place around it. And if he's people's top five or top 10 performances for a Super Bowl, I can totally sleep well at night knowing that. Like I hard agree.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Yeah, it's interesting. I Obviously I have mixed feelings about Super Bowl halftime shows.
I
Uh,
know.
and I have mixed feelings about it.
Did
And
you
yeah,
boycott the
no,
Super
I never
Bowl after Janet's whole
I
thing?
didn't.
I kind of did.
Well, I feel like the next year it was like Paul McCartney, or something very far left from.
Yeah, they started making them like
Mhm. Yep.
corny after
Yeah.
that. And I was like,
And,
ugh, this is whack. I don't
and then
care about
she was like getting blamed for that, and so that it was more so my annoyance with
mm-hmm.
people's reaction to her versus support for her.
Right.
And I also felt on the flip side, kind of not mad, but disappointed in her agreeing to even do that Super Bowl with all the other people. Like, I don't feel / know that Janet DeMita Joe Jackson does not need other people to fill out her Super Bowl time.
I know.
So the fact that it was like Kid Rock and Diddy and Jessica Simpson
And,
and other
and
people,
all those other people, yes.
why were they there? And so I feel like even that was a setup. Even that was like, you're telling me this woman that was your MTV icon that has broken all kinds of records can only do 2 songs of her catalog? That's nuts to me. That's
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, I didn't like how they did Janet at all that
Yeah.
year. And you know how I feel about the NFL in general as an organization. It is
Mhm.
not my jam.
Yeah.
I am very clear about the fact that I support the Eagles, and that's it. I do not care about anything else going on in that organization because I think that it is a very shady organization, and I won't even get into that. But they don't really have far to go with me
Right.
when it comes to antics and shenanigans. So the way they did Janet, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm good on this for a minute. And I honestly don't think I cared about another Super Bowl halftime show until
I think it was Prince for me.
probably like Prince. Wait, who? Yeah, because Prince, yeah, Prince is
Yeah.
who Resparked, yeah. Because when was Michael's?
It's 90. Hold on, let's see.
I don't
His
think I care too much about what went on between him and Janet, if I'm being honest.
you're funny. He was 1993, and then Janet was 2004. So
Yeah, well, whoever was in between there, I couldn't even tell you.
yeah.
So,
And Prince was '07. Yeah. So I mean, like I don't know. I mean, I definitely liked Prince. Obviously, I liked Bees as well. I liked when her and Bruno and Coldplay had theirs. I thought that was fun. I liked Rihanna's. Like, there's been a few that, like, but overall, like, I don't like, especially as I've gotten older, I prefer just to watch the game and hang out. Like, I don't necessarily, the halftime show was kind of like whatever. But
yeah. And let's just be real, as much as people, have criticized the whole Jay-Z being behind it thing,
mhm.
did we care before he showed up the way that we care now?
No, but I think that's also because of like the artists that have been affiliated, right? Like I feel like
Right. That's my point.
yeah,
Like he made us care again, really,
yeah,
because of the people that he's booked. So even if you don't like the people that he's booking, you're still talking about it,
yeah,
which is better than not caring at all. The ratings are there
yeah.
for all the people
Clearly
who sat there acting bothered and annoyed, and you still watched it.
still watched it. Yeah,
So
I know people were pretending to boycott the NFL, and then still were watching. So I was like, okay, we might as well have the artist I want to see. But like okay, but speaking of, I'm curious to know your thoughts on who could be it next year, because there's people are like, because this was so black that that they're like, we got it's the duality of it all. So it's like, okay, word, you want folks up here, you want is Crip walking, okay, cool, it's Brooks and Dunn, it's about to
y'all
be
are getting Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus next year.
Now you differentiating like they're two different people. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Yeah, I've heard Miley. I think Bad Bunny would be a potential.
Well, he's gonna do what Kendrick did, except in Espanol. So, have y'all heard his last album? Listen.
No, you're right. You're right. But they won't know what it means again, so it'll be fine. Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, there's still Taylor, which she has not done it yet, which I'm kind of surprised about. I know she had to been asked.
Yeah, Taylor's about due for a Super Bowl.
People have been trying. I've been also seeing people like, it's Chris Brown's turn. Where's Sierra? And that's kind.
Really?
Yeah, people have been saying Chris should have it for a while. His name has come up a few times.
They're going to listen.
But I'm like, I don't see
after
that.
Kendrick Lamar and all the controversy that he brought to the table.
For Chris
a
Brown,
man who's literally done nothing outside of music that we could really have a true shady conversation about, and then they're gonna follow that up with C Breezy. Yeah, no.
I don't see it happening.
I don't see that happening for Chris.
I don't see that happening. But that was the names that were being kicked around. But yeah, nah.
Listen, I can't even fathom who they're gonna pull out of the hat to counterbalance what happened this year. I hope that they just go, ratings and ride that out.
Yeah.
Because if they start pandering to the folks who don't get it or who don't like it, that whole halftime show is going to go down the shitter. Okay.
Yep.
Like at some point we have to just stop playing in people's faces and admit who the talent is.
Right. Right.
I'm not trying to see anybody's, I don't know. You keep having Brooks and Dunn pop into my head, but
that's the only random, because I'm like, the others like.
But anybody Brooks and Dunn-esque, or Brooks and Dunn adjacent, but like I don't care for any of it. That sounds like a snooze fest to me. I'm sorry.
It's gonna be Brooks and
So,
Dunn. It's gonna be Carrie Underwood. It's gonna be
uh,
uh
yawn.
Michelle in her Basquiat
Ooh.
skirt. It's gonna be maybe Nelly gonna come back for the twofer.
Oh my God, please stop. I can't take it anymore. I can't. But you know what? That Nelly move, they might try that
I might
actually.
try Nelly. Now I don't know if Jay is gonna be okay with that, but like again, I don't know how much, his involvement is. You know what I mean? I don't know like if he has like veto power or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
and they're like, well, you gave you Kendrick, so now we need one, So
That man gave it Kendrick, Usher, Dr.
Rihanna,
Dre,
Dr.
and
Dre.
Rihanna.
Yeah,
I'm sure they want him to have a seat for a little
yeah,
bit.
right. They're like, look, we're gonna do a Taylor theme. It's gonna be Taylor Dane, Taylor Swift, you know. Wiz Khalifa, the Taylor gang. It's gonna be all Taylors. That's what we got. Like
Taylor made.
Taylor,
Oh
right?
my God.
That's
Oh.
what's um.
Listen, they'll make it Lord and Taylor before they make it as black as it was this year. They're never doing that again. I'm telling
Listen,
you.
come on, SpongeBob Lord and Taylor. Look, we got the ideas. Even if we don't want to watch the show.
We might get another one again in 2029, but
2029 is crazy.
I mean, this current administration
Right. You're right.
having it.
No, not at all. Not at
Yeah.
all. The folks was upset. They were bothered. Okay.
They'll get over it. They'll
Uh,
definitely get over it. So yeah, so I don't know. I was happy. I felt like it was a good little pick me up for the year we've been having so far, which is
mhm.
a little dim and dark, if we're really being honest.
Please say
And
that again.
for those of us who are, child, listen, I'm so ready to clock out on all nonsense. So for me, I was just like, yeah, I feel like we needed to see that.
Mhm.
Like the
No, I
country, no corny shit, no bells and whistles and pyrotechnics and all that. Like, this is not a time to be celebrating, folks. I'm
agree.
sorry. So the fact that we're getting these little small victories right now, like, let us have it. And furthermore, go birds.
All right. Well, on that note,
We gonna take a little break?
yeah, and I just know I was writing a note to make sure I edit that part out when we
Oh, you know what? Ah, kind of things we expect from a you know what fan. I don't even want to say it because
You can say it. I
no, it makes me sad because I
because
do
I'm
consider
a
you a
loyal
friend.
person. I'm a loyal person that makes you sad. Okay.
No, 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 no. It has nothing to do with loyalty
I
and
mean,
everything to do with
it has everything to do with
shoddy
loyalty.
decision making.
It has everything to do with loyalty. It has nothing to do with this current stats. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's loyalty. Like,
And I get it because, Philly fans are ride or die, whether the Eagles are doing horrible, and we will definitely let it be known that we know they're doing horribly, or they're doing great. We're there regardless, right?
yes.
But that's Philly fans rooting for a Philly team in a very Philly way. And we allow people who are, Philly exposed or have some kind of Philly ties, or, usually people who've lived in the city or gone to school there or
Mhm.
have, relatives there, maybe their parents were from there, but then they moved. And so, you're from somewhere else, but your whole family still bleeds green. Like we allow anybody to come in and partake and be on the right side of things. But you didn't get the memo
Oh, I saw the memo,
after
and
4 or 5 years of living in
I
Philly,
just said,
walking Broad
cool.
Street.
Yeah, taking the train, all of it. You know what I'm saying?
And
Yeah,
then
no.
being my friend for all these years. And
I feel like you didn't know I was a Cowboys fan until very late in our friendship.
Because you knew to keep that shit to yourself.
No, but I don't think we did though, because I feel like we
Nuts.
obviously I know Philly fans don't play with things with Philly. Hell, y'all be acting like Rocky Real. So like
Okay, no, that's first of all, there is a pocket of Philadelphians who feel like the
now
whole
it's different.
Rocky thing is very silly. Don't do that. But
Okay. Well, to my knowledge, and to the statue that's there and everything,
yeah, I know.
now Rocky is, it's Barack and then Rocky. Like that's how you rock. So you know what I'm saying? So like I know that Philly don't play when it comes to Philly things, period. Right. And so cool. But however, I feel like football never came up with us, like you and I. Sixers, of course, because AI and on campus and whatnot. But yeah, no, it never came up. And then I don't think I realized how many people really hated that team till much later in life. And I guess because maybe when I was younger, they were winning more, right? So it's like it wasn't but even with them winning, I feel like the vitriol it's gotten worse over the years.
Yeah, I think it's just because you were around other people who were okay with them.
I don't know anyone
Or
who's
in
okay with them.
Philly, like that is a lifelong hatred.
I get that.
That's a lifelong rivalry. Like my entire lifetime,
Mm.
I have seen this very anti Dallas Cowboys vitriol. Like the whole thing is just very Philly. So I think if you're from like a place that doesn't have any sports teams, or you're just grasping and you're just
That the level of shade.
if college sports is your like height of sports watching and intake, then maybe you're reaching all the way across the country for a Dallas Cowboys.
The name of this episode is going to be Friends in Real Life ? Because geez Louise. Yeah, well, like I was telling Tristan offline and in general, other places that don't necessarily, and even if the places that do have a team where you're from, you supported the team you supported. That's how it's always been. Like it wasn't because you lived, like if I lived in New Jersey, I wasn't supporting, one of their teams. I was never like you pick which teams you want. I was closer to Boston, no Boston teams. Like that just wasn't how it was. Like the Chicago Bulls fan and Knicks fan growing up, like neither of, so that's what it is. That's the team you pick and you ride with it. Now, some people do the thing where they switch teams, which was always weird to me, but I know it's done. People I know from New York who are like Giants fans and were like, you know what? I'm an Eagles fan now. Or like I was a Steelers fan, now I'm an Eagles fan. Or
yeah, I get that. Because sometimes you follow,
the players,
the team, the players, things like that. But I think because Philly people are just so obnoxious when it comes to sports, and they just rally around their home teams and their ride or die. So I don't really get the whole like, oh, I'm from somewhere, but I support a team from another city, unless, like I said, you have an actual tie to that city, like you've lived there, or you know what I mean, like you've built memories there, or a certain part of your life is tied to that city. That part I get, but I get it as far as like following players. Like I'm an NBA girly more so, and the Chicago Bulls are my team all throughout the Jordan era.
Yeah.
And that still didn't negate the fact that the Sixers were still also my squad.
Yeah.
So I was just torn between the two. I just, if I'm sitting somewhere watching Allen Iverson and Michael Jordan play, I'm not going to be mad at whoever takes this W right now, but it's still Sixers. You know what I mean? So I think it's just like an obnoxious Philly fan thing, but we don't really play that switching side stuff. And when somebody is from Philly and they support another team, we're very confused.
Yeah, I know.
We're so confused. Like, what are you?
We're not from Philly. Like I told you, like you were like, wait. My homie Jeremy was like, he texted me the next day and was like, bro, we got to talk to this Cowboys thing. And I'm like, we actually don't. The NFL season is over. It's fine. Like, it's a
I think for you in particular, like as a Dallas fan, it's more egregious because, like I said, the hate between the Eagles and Dallas is so deep seated. That shit is so like entrenched. So any Eagles fan is going to look at a Dallas Cowboys fan with a side eye. If you had said the Patriots, if you had said
Never,
any
never.
other team, we
For
probably
a
would be like,
million
all
years, I
right,
would
you're
be a
still whack for
Patriots,
that, but we get it. But when
Patriots
you bring up
fan. Oh,
Dallas, ugh, we just, oh my gosh, it's wartime at that point.
mm.
Dallas is wartime.
You said what?
I said Dallas is wartime for us. Like that team in particular, like really pisses Eagles fans off. So
Well, we're
yeah,
gonna take a little break. You're gonna put some more.
yeah, we'll get you one day.
I'm good. We'll take a little break.
Are you though?
Some war paint on. I'm gonna go and make some edits, and when we come back, we'll talk about what else we've been watching besides Kendrick and the Birds.
Yes.
Okay.
In other news, Jean Groove Allen passed away. For those who don't know who that is,
Yeah, that's right.
he played Groove. He was Groove and Chill. Back in the 80s, early 90s. He had the gray suit on in House Party
I'm getting those digits.
and declared in a very weird Cockney accent that he
Why
was
did he say it?
indigenous. I have no idea.
That movie is unhinged. Why did he say it like
No
that?
clue.
Yo, that was crazy. But
It's
yes,
so
rest in peace
odd.
to that brother.
Not that was sad because he was only 60, and I just feel like that's really young.
That's young.
And House Party is one of my favorite movies.
We know that. Mine too. So
House Party is. I am still pushing for you to revive these house party style get-togethers. I feel like that's where we are in our lives now. We need
I'll
to
do it if we're doing a dance off and you pull off.
full dance off choreography. Like a 1990.
Yeah.
Hey, look, bring it back. Bring it back. The only way you're going to see people dancing in LA anyway.
This part. Hey, yo, Tisha Campbell, I know you're still here. Like, you trying to, what's up? Like,
We get Tisha Campbell and Tashina Arnold and AJ Johnson and Kid and Play.
Someone I know knows AJ Johnson personally. I probably could make this happen now that I think about it. Like,
all of those people were like child actors that sang and danced their hearts out.
Yes.
In movies and TV back in the day. And I feel like that whole energy is lost. We need to.
I don't disagree. Let's do it. We'll figure it out. That would be a lot of fun. That'd be a lot of fun. Okay, yes, he passed. What else has been?
What else is going on? Did you hear about Jocelyn Hernandez being in season 3 of Euphoria?
So I'm convinced at this point they're just like spinning a wheel. They're like, oh, whatever names show up, they're like, put them in it. Because like, I feel like the cast list has been getting really weird. But
yeah, because there was somebody else too recently.
Marshawn Lynch apparently is going to be in this in Euphoria.
Really? Because I kind of love him.
I don't.
That makes me happy.
Really? He's on my work list for sure. Yeah. Yeah, for sure, 1,000%.
Oh,
yeah.
I like Marshawn Lynch.
That tracks actually.
Ooh, you tried.
Yeah. I feel like the guy I'm like the celebrities I don't know, by the way, in real life, but like that I'm irked by like, oh, damn. I'm like, okay, well, there we are.
That is so not fair because
there's another name on this list that you know of that we've.
I know.
So who else has a show out? But yeah, so apparently Marshawn Lynch is coming, and as well as Kadeem Hardison, apparently. So
wow,
so it's just hey, why not? But Jocelyn Hernandez being on this show is crazy.
The Puerto Rican princess.
She is
from Love and Hip Hop. Is going to be on this show. That's what they're saying. I don't know what the role is going to be. I don't know, if it's a one episode situation or if she's like full-blown character. But yeah, I'll look into it a little bit more. But I definitely saw that pop up on my feed and thought that was very interesting.
That's dope though for her. Like,
hell yeah. That's a great for her.
Great.
That's a great for her. Yeah. I would love to see her pivot into more serious acting as opposed to reality TV acting. So if this is what gets her there, then hey, why not?
Right? Yeah.
What else is going on? Oh, there's supposed to be a romantic comedy coming out with Kelly Rowland and Method Man.
Yeah, I saw this. I don't have anything nice to say today. Oh my God.
What is wrong with you today?
I don't know. What's up? I'm like out of it. No, I think that this, in theory, is dope. I'm curious to see what that will look like.
I like Kelly Rowland as an actress.
I do too. I also like Method Man as an actor.
And Method Man as an actor. Yeah, I'm not mad at this.
I just don't. It just. Yeah. I don't. It's. I don't know. There is a age difference that I'm not going to pretend is not there, and so I'm just curious to know what this story is going to be about.
Is the age difference that great though? Is it that?
It's almost 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
How old is Method Man? I mean, listen, you're talking to a girl who does not mind an age gap relationship, so don't. I'm like, less than 10 years. That's perfect. What are you talking about? It's fine.
Yeah, she's 44, which is crazy, and he is
53. Yeah. All right, that's not bad. I'll allow it. I want to know what that is going to give.
It's called. Well, okay. I hate the title. I have to say.
What's the title?
Relationship Goals.
Oh God.
Kind of hate it.
Let me not prejudge, but I'm already now knowing what this is about without even.
Yeah, it's based on a bestseller called Relationship Goals: How to Win at Dating, Marriage, and Sex.
Okay, who's the author of that?
A man by the name of
a man. Wow.
Well, maybe it's not a. Well, yeah, it's a man. Sorry, because Michael Todd is. Yeah.
Oh, I know this guy. I've seen this guy before. Okay. I'm not really a relationship book.
It's also a Christian kind of book.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's like a minister, though.
A funny and inspiring romantic comedy? That feels weird. It's funny and inspiring romantic comedy of finding lasting love and sustaining a healthy relationship at every stage of courtship. And it looks like it will be directed by Linda Mendoza, who did stuff on Harlem and Survival of the Thickest. So,
okay.
Yeah. So I don't know who's playing what and how the interactions are and but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I think it'll be cute. Is it theaters? Is it going to be streaming? Does it say anything about that?
It doesn't. It says that it's Amazon MMG Studios film, but I don't know if that means that's just a production house or if it'll be on Amazon,
Gotcha. Yeah, that probably will end up on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it would be a in theaters thing, but maybe it will be. Yeah.
We shall see. I think I am interested enough in seeing what Kelly Rowland and Method Man do. I mean, I'm also assuming that they are going to be like the relationship people in this.
Yeah, I would think so, but I don't know. It could be like,
yeah, they could just be like, the friend to the main people or something. I don't know. But if they are, the couple or one of the couples that are supposed to be representing couple goals or whatever the case may be, I would be very curious to see what their chemistry is like. Because like I said, the two of them individually acting, I'm here for it. So to see them come together, I think it would be really cute. So I am actually looking forward to that.
All right, folks, Amazon, we would love to come see this movie. So please, think of us when you're
Amazon, especially
your press junket and all that,
Right. Do something for us since you're cutting up right now. It's like, no. Aren't they on the boycott list? God, that list is so long.
That list is longer than the list of things men can't do without being called sassy. And that list's like 500 things long. It's amazing. It's so crazy.
And growing every day, mind you, because y'all just adding stuff.
No matter what you do, I'm sure it's going to be like writing with your left hand is sassy. Like it's going to.
It's like, no.
Can't do anything.
My dad is left-handed, so we'll leave left-handedness out of it. But otherwise, no, I'm just kidding. You know what was the worst though? And I'm not even going to go down this road, but the one about using an umbrella will always send me screaming because I know so many dudes who do not use umbrellas. And I didn't even,
To one.
yes, I've never seen you with an umbrella. Like I never even put that on like a list of like, oh, that would be sassy if a dude carried an umbrella because I just am so used to seeing men not have them that I just thought it was like, oh, men just don't like holding extra things in their hands type thing. I never,
Right, right. For me,
I
I just
never
feel like it never
equated it to
works.
like, listen,
The umbrella never works. I end up already still. Never mind. There's no way I could say this without it sounding suspect.
I know what you were gonna say.
I'm gonna. I don't. No, there's no way.
Look, it's fine. There's
Guys,
no
crazy.
censorship here. It's
There's.
okay.
Yeah, I always get wet. Sounds wild. There's no way for me to say this without saying that it doesn't do what it's intended to do. I still end up feeling the effects of rain. So, I'm not doing this. Like, so yeah, I don't.
But you all have decided, the male delegation, I feel like decided that that was a thing because until I actually heard somebody say it out loud, that was never even on my radar of like being sassy or being anything other than men just don't like holding umbrellas
Right.
because I just never see it. So it wasn't even like a big thing. But yeah, that's on the list. I don't know. That list is funny as hell. Um, but anyway, what else is going on in movie and TV land? Oh, the Wayans. The Wayans family.
Yes.
They're being inducted into the Hall of Fame by the NAACP, which I think is long overdue.
Way overdue. Yeah.
And
Way
I
overdue.
don't think that the NAACP should be the only ones on board. I feel like any TV related organization should be giving this family the props that they deserve. Especially because they are responsible for us having the halftime shows that we have.
Come on. Now, come on.
Hello,
Come
this
on.
okay, for those who don't know, this little tidbit of TV history, In Living Color, which is a TV show started by Keenen Ivory Wayans, starring, half of his family and other notable comedians and actors. Jim Carrey, David Allen Greer, Tommy Davidson, blah, blah, blah. This is like the variety show of our childhood after, like Saturday Night Live's long run.
Yeah.
We finally got a show that was super urban, super off the wall,
And
held no punches, did not give a shit. Like it was just craziness. And they are the reason why the halftime shows at the Super Bowl went from being a complete and total like snooze fest to these full blown out concerts that we see today. And it was because they aired during the halftime show
yep.
back in the 90s and did their own little thing and gave you a reason to turn away from the Super Bowl to watch what they had going on. And the good folks behind the Super Bowl were like, we cannot have them competing
Right.
for our numbers.
Yeah.
We need to give people a reason not to turn the Super Bowl off halfway through.
Yep.
And lo and behold, you had an actual full blown concert after that
Mm-hmm.
because they did not want us turning In Living Color on.
That's crazy.
Here's I have a trivia question. Who was the first act in that Super Bowl halftime show the year that they decided to start like really making it a big thing because of In Living Color?
It wasn't Michael?
No. Unless it was Michael and these people also. It was a group.
I don't know. Who?
New Kids on the Block.
Wowzers. Okay.
Yep. It was New Kids on the Block. And I do not for the life of me remember if when Michael Jackson did his, if
Yeah.
it was just all him or if there were like other people involved with it. But I think that this came before my, yeah, it
No, it
did.
was.
Because
It's
this is
91.
1991.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yep. Isn't
That's
that funny?
that's wild. And that was when year Whitney Houston performed.
And
Okay.
that's when she, yeah. So, they
Okay.
pulled Whitney and New Kids on the Block, and that's all
Fantastic.
Hawaiians. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the Wayans, and I've been trying to get you to agree to do an episode of this podcast that just talks about the Wayans dynasty, because it is indeed a dynasty.
For sure.
They launched so many careers.
1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%.
Like
And they all shows and they all movies and
yes.
yeah, no, there's something to be said there. I'm with it. But I want it. I want to do it. I want one of the Wayans to be a part of it. That's what
Can we get Marlon?
No.
Excuse me.
I
What is your beef with Marlon? You know what?
got no beef with Marlon. Marlon is the homie. No, we could have Marlon. Marlon likes to talk. That'd be a good one. Yeah, I was actually thinking like the younger generation.
Like Damon Wayans Jr., I think is great. I think he's adorable. Like their whole family is just, could you imagine being at their house for the holidays?
Oh, I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have made
What?
it. I wouldn't have made it. My skin was way too thin. I would have made it. No.
Oh man, a time. I know their holidays are lit.
I know the jokes and oh my gosh.
There's nothing but left. In my mind, I don't even care if this is true. For all I know, they could be throwing turkey and cranberry sauce at each other all night. But in my mind, their Thanksgivings are just nonstop laughter.
Has to be. Has to be. Yeah.
Like I won't hear of anything else.
Yeah.
Like they are just coming in and just starting their shit from the moment they come gather all the way to the end of the night. And it's nothing but stomach aching laughter.
Yeah. You're burning calories by laughing. So
right.
Nah.
So I would love to be a fly on the wall at their holiday gatherings. It can't be anything but a good time. So that's cool. I will definitely be showing up for that.
Yep.
I wonder if all of them are going to be there.
Better.
They got to block out the first 2 rows of whatever theater that program is going to be held at, honey. Just block off the first 2 rows for that entire family, because that is generations of fun. Okay. So that's cool. What else is going on? Well, I think I will start by asking you what you watched, because I did not watch much of anything since the last time we recorded.
Okay.
My schedule, oh my God, work was so dumb. Like the craziness, the deadlines, all piling up on each other at the same time. I mean, days and days and days went by. The TV just did not come on. It just didn't make it. So by the time things, finally did wind down and I was able to like decompress, put the TV on, my brain was still a little too fried for me to get into anything of any real substance until I watched The Substance.
Right.
You've been trying to get me to watch for like
finally, yes, you watched it. So before I tell you about what I've been watching, because some of it's embarrassing.
Oh no.
Yeah. Tell me about what you would talk about The Substance. Like, because that's still one of my favorite films of the year. So
it's Demi. Yeah. Give her the thing.
Yeah, give her the things, right? Like
yeah, she went there. Okay, so first of all, I loved the way the movie was shot. Let's just start there. The colors. Oh, I look at the nerd stuff, right? So the way they played with color in that film, I thought was awesome. The way that they shot it was like with this like technique where they're like throwing things in the trash, but like you see it from the bottom of the trash can type vibe. Like I loved like that little stuff. So I was paying attention to that kind of stuff. There's not a lot of dialogue in this movie though.
Yeah.
It's very visual. Yes. It's very, very visual. Like if you are not just looking at it and like really paying attention to it, you will think nothing is going on because you don't hear a whole lot of talking in this.
Yeah.
But the performances are still, powerful enough. And I think that the lack of talking and making it mostly a visual situation is, very appropriate for the subject matter, right? Because this is all about looks and image and, not necessarily what someone is saying, but how they look
Yep.
and whether or not people are going to care about what they're saying based on how they look. So there was a lot going on there that I felt like it really, really worked. But when I tell you that movie is disgusting,
Yeah.
oh,
Especially towards the end, it's like, whoa, okay.
so gross. Like the effects, whoever did the makeup, oh my God. I know they have to be nominated.
Let me see. I don't know. I'm not
They
sure.
have to be nominated for an Oscar. The visual effects and makeup, it was so gross. It was so real. And I don't really like needles and
Right.
somebody who is going through these iron infusions and every other day I'm at the hematologist getting poked, right?
Right.
And I hate it. Like I'm used to it, but like still to this day, of all the medical things that I've been through, I cannot look at a needle going into my flesh. I immediately turn my head. Something about that just makes me lightheaded. It freaks me out. The idea of this tiny little piece of metal going inside of a vein, like, ugh, all of it. It just gives me the creeps. So I could not really watch the scenes where like she's stitching Demi, like every time that needle went through that flesh, oh my God. Oh,
I know.
spoiler, I'm sorry for anybody who hasn't seen it, but just trigger warning, if you are easily like gagged by things, or if you're squeamish or any of that kind of stuff, this is not going to be the movie for you.
Don't watch it.
This is not going to be the movie for you. Like I struggled through some of those scenes.
I do too. I struggled through the end a little bit. I was like, okay, this is why.
It was
But I loved it. And I was like, I finished that movie and I was like, okay, if she don't win, if she don't get nominated, I'm fighting. And if she don't win, I'm gonna be upset.
Yeah, that
So
would be that would be a good one for her to get. I think she really exuded so much emotion
yeah.
and idea of aging, because I was kind of tapping into that because
Yep.
that's something that I'm, dealing with at the moment, just trying to understand my body at this age,
Yep.
and the things that it's doing that I don't understand, and me not knowing, like, is this just a symptom of getting older or am I dying? Like, what is going on? Because I haven't had, any major like physical changes to
Right.
my, you know what I mean? Like in my mind, I am still, the same Tristan I always was. So, and then I haven't had kids. So like I didn't go through like my whole body shifting and doing all the things that it does when you carry a child. And so in my mind, I feel the same.
Right. Yeah.
And I expect my body to still behave the same way that it did 20 years ago. And it just doesn't in a lot of ways. And me trying to make peace with that, that's a real thing. I don't know if men go through it, but I know for me and, my girlies and us entering this next phase of life, it's weird. Like you really start noticing like, damn, I really need eye cream. Like I
Mhm.
really, I really need to do something about these gray hairs. I really, you know what I mean? Like,
The gray hair thing, I tell you, I gave up. I'm like, it's all the hair I have left is on my face. This gotta go gray. Like this can't stay like
yeah.
so yeah, I definitely do think about it. I think that like, yeah, just aging is different. You don't bounce back the same after working out or drinking. Your
Right.
face is changing, whatever the case may be. So yeah, it definitely made me think about aging as well. And also like there's a scene in the film. This isn't really a spoiler, folks. I don't think, and I feel like I'm really good about judging that. But there's a scene where she's trying to get ready for a date, and she keeps like taking
Oh, that was
the
so
makeup.
sad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. And I was like, wow, that is like, yeah, the film is dope. Oh, please go see it, folks. If you haven't, it's so
Yeah,
good.
it's
Uh-huh.
good. I like
Okay,
it.
so you watched that, which I think is a big win. Like that,
That's a win. Yeah. That was like the only thing of, you know, any real import that I watched. Like other stuff was just like, catching up on, SVU and Found and, just kind of like having on the little shows that I would normally watch and letting them run through. But as far as something with like a true, plot line and needing full attention, yeah, that was the only thing I got through was the substance. So,
Hmm.
it was a good pick. I'm not mad at it.
Well, sorry. So I've been watching some foolishness, and I don't even know how to begin. I guess the first thing I thought this was you were mentioning earlier about me, but you did. It wasn't. It was about Drake. But the first thing I watched recently was myself being reposted on Janet's Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Super Bowl Sunday, aka Janet Jackson Appreciation Day. She reposted my video of me dancing, which is
God,
a
yes.
triple, quadruple win for me. You really can't tell me
Yeah,
anything.
that was your Super Bowl win for sure.
Like, I was like, look, everything else is cute, but like, did y'all see that?
That
Like both
mother
did,
reposted.
but let's pay attention to the real win here. The underdog really had his day when he got okay.
The way I screamed, first of all, you would have thought that the Eagles were playing in my living room. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God. Like I lost it.
It's magical and I'm very appreciative. And word. Okay, but so that being said,
Yeah, that was a highlight for
that was
sure.
the highlight and the most quality. Now I watched a movie on Tubi called African American Psycho.
African American Psycho.
Yes, the hip hop freak. Um, and it is loosely based um,
Ooh,
on a
spirit to
on
be.
a Tubi. Well, first, yeah, it's loosely based on Diddy, basically, and it's kind of a take on the movie American Psycho. So same sort of things, like he's a successful person, but he like gets off on killing people, and so they have woven that story into the alleged story or the stories that have been heard about Diddy from Cassie to Drake. But they all have very close names. Like, so he's on Good Guy Records. Uh,
You know what? Okay, so wait, he's actually a killer though. He's not
he's a
just
killer.
doing
Yeah.
bad stuff.
Yes.
Now
Yeah.
I'm pissed because I actually thought of this story before
Oh, okay.
and thought that it would make. I'm like, what if you had like a Diddy style record producer, but he's into like the dark arts, like the occult type. I mean, that was the level of
Yeah.
the side of killing that I was coming at it from. Like it would have been more like occult, ritualistic type stuff, not just, shooting people or anything like that.
Mhm.
But same idea of like actually making that character a real killer behind the scenes, even though he's, flourishing as like this successful music mogul. Let me
Mhm.
find out Tubi is out here trying to steal
Well, they
my
stole your idea and they just, boy Cuddy was one of the names.
Boy Cuddy is supposed to be Kid Cuddy.
Correct. Casey instead of Cassie. I mean, it's like Rolls Royce instead of Rick Ross. It's just
I can't.
so it's an hour long, so do with that what you will. And yeah, I laughed so hard. I was like, this is utterly ridiculous. And where's number 2 and 3 at? Like, what else happens in the story?
Oh my God. Wait, was there room for sequels? Because that would be nuts.
Oh, for sure there could be. For sure there could be. There was a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah, because he hasn't even gone to trial yet. So I'm
Right.
sure there'll be I wonder if that's going to be televised.
I don't think so. That would be dope, though. Well, not dope, but that would be something.
It'll be wild.
Okay, so I watched that, and then so in the spirit of research and making sure that we are a well-rounded podcast and that we look at all things on film and TV and not just the things that are at our level, right? I logged in through a good friend of mine's login to Zeus Network.
Mm.
And I watched Mena's dating show Two Ways.
Who's the Erica Mena?
Erica Mena, yep.
Okay.
Speaking of Tubi. Yeah, and so yeah, all I can say is, man,
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm actually not sure. Like when I finished watching it, I was like, maybe something's up. Like maybe I'm not okay. Like maybe I can take
I feel like we need
a
to
little
have
break,
a
you know?
powwow or something about what's going on with you because
So like back in the day, like Erica Mena and I, you know what? Never mind.
oh, wait a minute.
You
Do
know,
I have to freshen up my teeth?
we are not releasing this podcast episode. This is nuts. No, I will say that Erica Mena and I were like cool for a hot second because she knew her publicist was like a friend of mine in New York.
Okay.
And so like we exchanged info and talked about me styling her, and we were like friends on Twitter and things like that. Like back like really early on, like when she had just kind of started doing Love and Hip Hop.
Okay.
But, so yeah, so I've always been like kind of like, all right, even though she's made some poor choices over the years, like I'm always been like, all right, cool. And she got her acting bag and doing all those movies on Tubi and stuff. People rave about the Stepmother series and all that. So anyway,
yeah, that's a fun watch, actually.
right? Like, that's what people have said. They're like, it's enjoyable. So, but yeah, so I watched this show where two different, men and women and all gender expressions are out to maybe try to date her, and everyone just fights. There was fights.
So this is basically Flavor of Love, but with more violence.
Correct.
Got it.
Yep. So it's nuts. So I watched 2 episodes because I give every show 2 episodes. And I don't think I'm prepared to watch another. So but I am really interested into what's going to happen with some of the cast members. So I don't know what to do. Yeah.
That's so scary. I would not be able to, I wouldn't be able to do it. That Zeus network is
crazy. It's diabolical.
unhinged.
It's beyond unhinged. It's unlatched. It's unloosed. It's loosed out. It's everything.
Oh my God. Like, what is going on? I have never seen a clip of anything from that network where fisticuffs were not involved. Like, there's always combat.
They should have called the Fight Network. I don't know where Zeus came from.
Where did Zeus? Yeah, just call it what it is. Like the Belt Ass Network. We can call like too much going on over there, and I just can't. Watching people fight is already like cringy to me because I just don't understand why people think fighting is fun or should be a sport or any of the things. But yeah, that's oof.
It was
I thought Tubi was a dark place.
Yeah, no, Zeus is other level. But speaking of things that are good, I did watch, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but I started Paradise. And it is I think I did talk about this. It is the show.
This is Sterling K. Brown, right?
Correct. Yep. So I've been watching
we did talk about this because I need to figure out how I'm going to watch it without. Okay, I'm coming over because Tubi. I mean, not Tubi, Hulu.
Yeah, you got rid of Hulu. Yeah. Hold up.
We have something else come into Hulu that I also want to see that I'm not going to be able to see now because of them.
It's annoying. I'm like, can y'all get back on one page, please? So yeah, I watched that, and I'm trying to think of this. I also watched. Again, apologies, folks, because I'm Tristan says childish, but I don't use profanity. So I watched My Old ASS. Um,
Oh
and
my gosh. Oh wait, is that the movie where the girl is like talking to her 40-year-old self or something like that?
correct. Yep.
Oh,
Mhm.
nice.
And it actually was really good.
I thought
Like
that was good.
it's actually it's a really interesting coming of age story and using the angle of that. Um, I enjoyed it a lot. And the lead actress who plays like the younger self, like she ended up getting some noms and stuff like at other um award shows and stuff because like she was good, or like something like a Star to Watch or Young Rising Talent kind of award.
Okay. Let
Yeah,
me see
that one
my
was
this girl is.
yeah, it was definitely worth watching. I watched it on a plane when I was in the
No
Bay.
Aubrey Plaza is in it, right?
Yeah, she's in it. She's the 40-year-old virgin basically.
Got it.
But yeah, the other girl's name is
Baby Stella?
that's it. Yep. Yep.
That does not look familiar to me. What is
I
she?
think she's new. I don't think she's been in
Is
anything else.
this her first? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Or if she has, I haven't seen it. But yeah, she was really good.
Oh, she
Like
was in Nashville, which was a show that people tried to get me to get into, and I never did.
I watched the first few episodes of that when it first came out. Yeah. But she was obviously young then.
Yeah, she was old. Okay.
Yeah, so I would, put that on sometime if you have time. But yeah, that's it. That's all I've really been watching. Zeus and Tubi.
Ugh, you should be ashamed.
I, I am very ashamed, I have to say. And I was telling my homie whose login I borrowed, I was like, dude, this is bad. And he was like, I know. I was like, baby,
Ugh. Do we need an intervention for you guys? I
no,
just
when
feel
he said that when we do the Zeus episode to let him know so he can be a guest on it, and I was like, okay, that's
well, that will be
the
you
way.
guys. I'll be on break during those episodes, guys. So if you don't hear my voice,
Hilarious. Yeah, that's it. You're on vacation.
I'll be on vacay. I have nothing to add to that conversation whatsoever. But you
But
guys,
Jonathan Majors movies will
hi.
be on there, so
Whose movies on there?
Jonathan Majors.
Are you serious or are you being funny?
No, I'm not being funny. He has a new movie out or coming out, and I believe like Zeus Networks like produced it for him because he couldn't get back.
Oh, that makes me kind of
Yeah,
sad.
the Magazine Dreams film. Yeah,
Oh, wait, I've actually heard of that. That's coming through Zeus.
yeah. Or I guess Zeus is produced. Maybe they're like distributed. I think it's going to still be in theaters, but
But
yeah,
oh,
it's got your actors. It's Taylor Pages in it.
right. So that's why I'm confused why that couldn't get bigger distribution. But I'm assuming it's because of whatever he
Scott King and all that.
is
Yeah,
still carrying around. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, definitely did not know that.
Zeus came through in the clutch and was like, "We got you."
We
Like,
got you. Yeah. Hey, look, get in where you fit in. Oh, White Lotus is back.
it is, and I watched that earlier. Yes, I watched that this morning. Oddly enough,
Yeah, I haven't tuned into that yet. I definitely still kept my HBO, even though I don't have Hulu anymore, because I had HBO through them.
oh, I see. Okay,
And so when I deaded Hulu, that went with it. So I had to get HBO Max separate. So I do have Max, and
okay.
we diving into White Lotus. I've been trying to avoid people's commentary on it because I'm already seeing it, and I'm like, did they release the whole season?
No, just one episode.
Right, like people are talking about it as if
The
they
whole
watched
thing,
the
no?
whole thing already. I'm like, what are all these carousels of different commentary and things from the show as if we're not just on episode one? Like,
Well,
can we?
because there's so many. Well, first of all, there's always the fight to see like, yo, who died and who's the killer or killers, right? So I think that there's a part of that people always want to kind of like, start to put out there, and there's a lot of different, scenarios, characters, whatnot that we're trying. And then obviously people who've come back from other seasons,
Mm.
so that's also kind of like a thing, So it's also beautifully shot. Oh my gosh, like.
All of them are.
Budgeting, like they went for it. Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
So yeah, I definitely am tuned in. It's
Yeah,
just
that's
getting
probably
better.
gonna be my watch tonight. It's
Yeah.
like a good part to kind of get back into some TV watching now that my upcoming work week is not looking too crazy. So
Mhm.
I can start that one. Well, something we won't be watching.
Mm.
How to Die Alone.
Speaking of Natasha Rothwell, right?
Yeah.
That,
They canceled How to Die Alone.
I mean, all right. Let's
We
do
need
it.
a break because
Let,
I have thoughts.
let me roll up my sleeves. Let me pull
Let
another.
me roll up something because
You roll up something. I roll up my sleeves. Maybe it's a little too early to have a drink, but maybe I'll have a drink because I too have thoughts on this. And
I'm
and
so
want to
disappointed.
talk about it because I'm both upset and not surprised. Um, yeah.
Okay.
So let's take a little break here. Let me go ahead and reset my web browser so Zeus does not show up. And when we come back, we can talk.
Oh, don't be ashamed. Don't hide.
No, I have it in internet. I have it in private browsing. Like it's like
Oh, wow. Sweetie, it's Zeus. It's not Pornhub. It's fine.
you
Like,
sure?
what are we doing?
Depending on look, some of the contestants are actually OnlyFans folk, so it could technically be.
Oh, well.
Listen, I know you were trying to help me. I'm digging myself a deep role. All right. Oh, gosh.
I tried, okay?
You really did. You really did. This is like an intervention episode between my love for the Cowboys, you know.
Yeah, dude, I'm starting to question some things
Okay.
about this friendship. I don't look. All right, we'll talk about that offline.
We'll talk
But
about offline with loved ones. Let's take a little break here. When we come back, we'll get into how to die alone. And Robert said it's not gonna be.
cool. So,
Uh-huh.
you know,
All
I,
right.
I try, Chris.
Okay.
I try to understand where people are coming from with certain things
Yeah.
and, look at things from all sides as a fair Libra should.
Sure.
That's just what we do, right?
For sure.
And then I'm a girl who is uber empathic. So, you hurt, I cry. You know what I mean? Like, so I think I'm capable of understanding where people are coming from for the most part.
Right.
But when it came to How to Die Alone,
Mm.
I really had to do some digging,
Okay.
a little self-reflection even, because I didn't understand why people didn't like it.
Mm.
I didn't get it at all. And so when it started trending that it was canceled,
Mm-hmm.
and I was looking at the comments that people were making
Yep.
about what they didn't like about it,
Yep.
I was genuinely surprised. I was like, wait, what? But then I also have to remember the lens. You know what I mean? Like everybody is filtering life through their own lens. The
Right.
lens of their experiences and, all the things that, make them them. And I understand that my lens will see things completely differently than, the next guy. I get it.
Yeah.
But people were saying things like it was traumatizing.
Yeah.
Like her character and the things that she was going through was traumatizing. So that threw me off. So I don't know. You tell me. I mean, first of all, for those who have not seen How to Die Alone or have no idea what we're talking about, how about you just break it down a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So it's How to Die Alone is Natasha Rothwell's basically baby. She tried to make this show for 10 years or 8 years, something crazy like that. But it's about a girl that works in an airport. Like she's one of the people who drive the the transporter that takes like people who can't walk or don't want to walk to like their gates and whatnot. And she always wants to travel, but has a fear of flying, right? And like has issues with like money and acceptance, and like the dude that she was in a relationship with is getting married to somebody else. So it's like all of these sort of like, I don't want to say coming of age because not coming of age, but like just sort of late 20s, early 30s something issues that happen, you know, figuring out your friendships, finding your confidence, figuring out your love life, all that stuff. And she ends up having a traumatic experience where there's an accident and she almost dies, or she was, I guess, dead for a bit. And when she comes back, she starts to kind of reevaluate her life and think differently about what she's doing. And then it gets a little wild. So I don't want to give it away from there, but yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's coming back. We might as well. Like,
no, you're right. So she's in the hospital and she's talking to like this older Black lady and whatnot, who's like her sweet mate, for lack of a better word, hospital.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, her.
And she like, the woman dies basically, and like she takes her credit card and is like buying stuff with it, and you know, all this stuff, and her dog takes her dog, and also there's
she pretty much steals this woman's identity and decides to, you know, live life, you know, and it's wild, it's crazy. You know, it is a comedy, and I don't know, it just didn't hit with a lot of people. And you said in the beginning, you said this show is not going to make it,
and it's not because
it's not good. Right.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, but I know that well, I think there is a thought that women, particularly Black women who are heavier, are not allowed, or it's sad for them to be sad. So or for life to be wrong, or them to have issues,
or for their lives
for life to be crazy. Yeah. Like, because all the crazy shenanigans that she gets into in this show, you know, with the, you know, all the wild stuff that happens to her in this show.
The wild stuff that happens in the series of just like shady decision making.
Yeah.
You know, you're watching it and you're like, girl, please don't do that. You know what I mean? And there's
Melissa on the show, I think is her name. But
yes,
all those things that happen to her, even some of the hijinks, aren't that different from what she did as Kelly in Insecure. But because it's funnier and she's not like, Kelly always has a man in Insecure, and like she's, you know,
she's successful
and things like that. Like it's okay, but because like the tinge of it is different, like it's different. And speaking of Insecure, I feel like she makes some of the same poor decisions that Issa would have made on Insecure.
Correct, and that's where I was getting so confused.
Yeah, nobody feels traumatized by.
That's where I was so confused. I'm like, what is the difference between the stupid shit that Melissa gets into in How to Die Alone and the stupid shit that Issa got into in Insecure?
It's body type. Because I mean,
it goes back to, I think you're right.
It's body type. I mean, it's like already, you know, the story is like there are not enough happy endings or happy situations for Black women in TV and film, right? It's always some, I mean, look at stuff with Tyler, and it's always some crazy. So I think that critique is out there, and I think that could be fair. But then I think also like there's a sensitivity to the story that Black women, and particularly Black full size or plus size women, full figured women, are not allowed to have happy endings. You know, they're just allowed to be funny or sad, you know.
But here's the thing, and I can receive that because that character trope is actually a thing, right? We are well aware that does happen.
Right.
But we have to leave room for character development. Like,
Right.
Is that not a thing anymore?
No, it has to go
What if
direct.
we had dismissed Sex and the City off of season 1 of Carrie's ridiculousness?
Yeah, we've never got the ridiculousness that she did after.
We
But
never would have made like that's the part that I feel like is blowing me a little bit because I can understand, like I said, like trying to empathize with people, trying to see things the way that other people see them. I get the whole we need better representation or representation period and all of that. And I also understand that me looking the way that I look, I've never really had a problem seeing a quote unquote image of myself on movies and television,
yeah,
right? Like I've always been very small. I've always been, you know what I mean? Like I'm not, super duper, dark skinned or, you know what I mean? Like I don't really fall into any of the categories of, you know, people that are lacking positive representation on movies and, television. Like when I was little, I was obsessed with Diana Ross because
right.
Diana Ross looked like me. You know what I mean? Like she was a skinny brown skinned girl with big hair. Like, you know what I mean? Like I saw myself in Diana Ross, in, Jodie Watley, and you know what I mean? Even going all the way up through, into the 90s where you had like your Vivica Foxes and Nia Longs and all of the things. Like I get that. I see
Yeah,
that. And I get that that is, more emblematic of, what I look like. And those women have been allowed to play different characters that have, flaws and, there's nuance there and all of the stuff.
yeah,
So I get that I may have like a slightly biased or skewed view of like what is actually out here.
yeah.
Um, but at the same time, I'm also not looking at that stuff.
For that.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't need to always see myself
Yeah. I've never
in the story.
like I'm like
If it's a good story.
I always care about the story being good, and I'm like the best stories often have flawed characters. And so
Correct.
for me, like, I can appreciate like, yeah, plus size is not something you see. I mean, there were no plus size, we don't even have a word for it for men. There was no size diversity like that unless he was a rapper and just happened to be that size or something, or
Right.
like it was like always a joke. It was never taken seriously. I mean, we talked
Right.
about
There's no Hollywood leading man
no.
who
It's
didn't,
either you were funny or you were like hardcore. You know what I mean? Like you were
right.
or you were,
You were the funny guy or you were the muscle.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so, but I wasn't like, damn, I'm never gonna watch TV again because there's no one who looks like me. Like, it's fine. I'm gonna be okay,
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I think that the initial reactions was that. And I think that like I was like, this show is a little too little too in the weeds of bad decision making. It's a little too her character is like not quote unquote likable in many ways. And I think people, and by I said I mean by the decision she's making, like
Right.
like with the stealing the stuff with it was like almost cringeworthy to sometimes watch her make these decisions. Like, why are you telling people that you took this girl's money? Like, what is wrong with you?
Right. Like if you're going to be a thief, please be quiet about it. That was my biggest beef. Like, girl, please.
So I feel like that was a big part of it. And yeah, even just some of the stylistic things they did, which I enjoyed. I was like, the average person watching this is not going to like it. I just had that feeling, like, and I hate to make that such a general statement because I don't feel like, Black people are unable to watch things that are complex. We do it with non-Black people all the time and seem to enjoy it. But when it comes to us, it needs to be like a very particular, almost impossible thing to reach to be on a show. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Do you think that comes from the fact that we're still we're still kind of catching up on what image of us is acceptable
Mm,
as far as, entertainment is concerned. Like, I think we've all kind of accepted the fact that the most ratchet, you know, craziest parts of who we can be culturally exist within hip hop.
mm.
And it's almost like, let's just keep it there. But
Yeah.
when it comes to what we actually see on TV and in movies, we
Mhm.
are not, I don't know, the Black community, quote unquote, is not here for it a lot of times. And I think that it goes back to um, kind of like a latent trauma
Okay.
that kind of comes from like seeing us stereotyped
Yeah.
so much. You know what I mean? It's almost like we're just getting to the point where we can be on TV and be seen as um sexy without being a whore or, being some man's like plaything. Like we're genuinely loved. You know what I mean? In film and stuff now, and that's what people want to see. Did it just not get to a point in history where we've seen enough of the positive that the negative is digestible? I don't know. I am a storyteller. You know what I mean? Like I come from a place of, a writer and just make it good,
Yeah.
So I try to divorce myself from that sometimes to see when some stuff is just like, nah, this is flagrant on so many different levels and the story's not even good. Like I have a problem with that. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with seeing Black people not necessarily be the hero or, for them
Yeah.
to be, even if I hate the character.
Right.
Like there's so many characters I'm like, yo, I hate this character, but it's just a character. And I understand that this person is acting,
Right.
number one. And number two, if they're doing it so well that I actually have an emotional response to how I feel about that character, that means they're doing a good job.
Right. Right.
That means something's actually working.
Yeah.
But for some reason, there's like a segment of the Black population where they can't even hate the character. It makes them hate the whole everything about it. It's like somebody's saying like, no, y'all are playing in our faces by even creating this character.
Yep. That's what it comes out to be. It feels like that. Yep.
And it's like, really? So are we never supposed to?
Never. Our entertainment, I mean, okay, let's do it.
Uh-oh.
No, because I was gonna say like over the years, right? Like I'm a person that watches a lot of TV, a lot of film, always have been. I like you, or I'm a storyteller, or you like story. And so I watch a lot, but also I'm on internet a lot. I'm on social media a lot. So I see a lot of comments and feedback or whatever. And I can always tell what film is gonna or TV show is gonna get like that was good, what TV show or film is gonna get like minimal to no response, even if it is good, and then the ones that are like terrible, but people still watch them, right? So it's like you got people who will be upset out of that alone, but watch Sisters. You got people that like or insert a film or a TV show and be like, well, it's terrible, but I like it because, whatever.
It has some kind of value.
It has, yeah. It's like it's pretty girls or it's like whatever, the case may be. Then you have like then you have people who will like they can't fathom it not being picture perfect, right? So they need the story to have a happy ending. They need everyone to be successful. They need that constant reinforcement of we're doing better than all right.
Mm-hmm.
We all went to college. We all have multiple degrees. We have like all that stuff. Which is why like Tyler does so well because like he makes sure to mention that in every film in a way no one ever would. Right. So,
right.
So there's that. But then I also think that like, there's some of the films that people like. There's films that like, if Beale Street Could Talk, a good film, a great adaptation of a book, a good love story, great acting, no one cared. It just kind of just fell under the radar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. But again, because there's like a crime jail part to that, people get upset about that too. So it's like the parameters are very narrow for what is expected to be entertaining on TV when it's not comedy. And even though How to Die Alone is a comedy, it's still rooted in some other like sad things that makes
It's
people.
the sadness around it. Yeah. Yeah. Some of the comments that I saw were the character seemed too pity party-ish for me.
I don't
Somebody said, I also didn't care for how it was very stereotypical plus size black girl on film. Um, what else did somebody said the show was so cringe to me, I couldn't even finish the season. Yeah. Somebody said it felt very scatty and all over the place, not as funny or entertaining as I had hoped it would be. We know she has range, but the show didn't really show that. Also, don't get that.
Yeah, I saw someone say, okay, I didn't make it through the first episode of How to Die Alone. I'm tired of the trope of single, plus size, lonely, damn near friendless, dowdy black woman. Did I give up too soon?
Where else are we seeing that?
I don't know.
Where else are we seeing that? I didn't see it in Survival of the Thickest.
Right.
I didn't see it in First Wives Club with Jill Scott.
Right.
Where is this being done in mass so egregiously that we can't let one show with one plus size black woman and her life is not perfect?
Right. It's wild to me because I was trying to think, like, because the other thing, first of all, there hasn't been that many. The only one that's like that is written like that on purpose, and that's Precious, right? Like that was clearly a film that dealt with like.
That's what the whole point was.
That was the whole point. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't a feel good movie. It wasn't a rom com. Like it was supposed to, whatever. So
right.
And so that's the only thing I could think of where that image was quote unquote shown. But everything else, even stuff with Monique, even stuff like Fat Girls, still showed plus size women in a positive way. Like they won in the end of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about like, because I heard people say like they felt like, Kim on Moesha, for example, they made fun of her weight, but she wasn't that big. And they made it seem like she was like huge. Or like, Monique's character on The Parker is being thirsty over that dude. Is it because she was plus size? Like these are the kind of things that I've heard like rumblings of, and I could kind of go, maybe, not necessarily, but maybe.
Yeah. And that also was a different time.
That's also fair. Yeah.
That to me was a time where, they were also dragging Britney Spears and Jessica Simpson for being a size 6.
Right.
Or a good solid thick 4, you know what I mean? So that's 4. Like we were in a really weird time back in like the early 2000s where weight for famous women was just judged on such a ridiculous level that it can't even be like taken seriously today. Like that's how ridiculous it was. Like when you look back at all that old footage, and somebody compiled it, and it was like, this is why elder millennial women struggled with eating disorders and things like that. And then they show this whole compilation of different celebrities being judged for a little bit of weight gain or needing to lose weight. And, it had Britney Spears, it had somebody talking to Posh Spice, or AKA Victoria Beckham, about her size. It was just a whole thing. And I was like, yeah, that was a really crazy time. But also, I'm Black, and we never cared about being small like that where I'm from.
Nope.
Like, I was the outlier. where I'm from, with me being as small as I am. Being thick or even plus size, as all the women in my family are, was never a thing. It never stopped anything. It never stopped anybody from doing anything, including getting a man.
Right.
And so we kind of looked at that as a problem for the others in their community.
Yep.
So to me, when I look at Black women, full figure Black women on TV, I don't even think about their weight.
Right.
I'm not even do you know what I mean? Like, it is not something that even comes up for me, because I know that full figure Black women exist and they're fine. They're doing fine. You know, I've seen full figure Black women living, loving, and flourishing my entire life.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying when I say, going back to like the lens through which I'm seeing things, and having to constantly remind myself that like not everybody has this experience.
Mm-hmm.
But open yourselves up to the fact that everybody is not, you know, having an issue with their weight. You know what I mean? There are fully confident plus size women out here in this world.
Yep.
And they deserve to be not only seen, but to be seen as fully human.
Right. Yep.
Flaws and all.
Yep.
Like, why is that so traumatizing to people? Listen.
Maybe because they haven't done the work themselves. Want to see something that reminds them of that. I think that sometimes when people use these words they learned on TikTok a few days ago, like trauma and trigger and so forth,
they're
not actually going to the root of it, right? And so it's like you have to ask yourself, like, why does this bother you? You know what I mean? And I think for her, like that role maybe poked a lot of holes in how people feel about themselves. And not having it together, and the decisions that they make, like they probably could see themselves in her and didn't want to, right? So that's also another thing when you feel seen, but in a bad way. Because I had this situation with like friends of mine, like I had a homie and I was like, yo, you kind of have some Molly vibes, like from Insecure, and like they were offended at first. I was like, but I actually think it's a good thing because here, you know, whatever. So
what's wrong with Molly? Like,
Molly
Molly gets dragged for, right, but that's the thing. Like, you hate Melissa's character in How to Die Alone more than you hate Molly, and some of the crazy stuff that she did on Insecure to get on everybody's nerves.
Mm-hmm.
She was extremely annoying as a character,
and
we all were okay with it.
Yeah,
nobody was talking about canceling it because
again, she also, even though she had flaws and whatever. Well, first of all, Issa was wrong from jump, but doing that Broken Pussy song. So,
yeah.
So there was a bit of favor in her way, like, yo, if she reacts, it's because you started this thing. But
sure,
Molly had it together, right? Like Molly was like, she had the fancy apartment, she had the high-paying job, she had niggas going through it, like, you know what I'm saying? So people overlook mistakes when they're like the package and what's happening with it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I think if Melissa's job wasn't just her being, an airport worker.
Yep.
If you gave her some high-powered job with an office overlooking the skyline of insert big city here,
yep,
it would be a completely different reaction, I think. Yeah. Yeah, because, we're not allowed to just have a 9 to 5 and be okay. Like, she seemed like she genuinely liked her job.
That was the part. Like, I don't think she was necessarily miserable. I think obviously like she wanted to make more money, but shoot, who doesn't at that age? And like she, wanted to get over her fear of travel and stuff like that, which I thought that was very interesting.
Also the part of her trying to move up to that like management position and having to take this as like she had goals within her her world and where she was working. Like, is that what we're doing? Like, are we now belittling people who work those kinds of jobs? Because that doesn't seem fair to me.
I think it's because of like just all the package of it all. I also feel like, and I like him as an actor, I feel like her best friend, they didn't necessarily like their interaction, or they thought, she was too needy. I thought he was kind of more on the needy side, but whatever, like
Again, all fair assessments, but
yeah,
also all very real dynamics that happen in real life.
right, exactly. Yep, yep.
So what do we want? Like, because this whole idea of trauma porn, which is what it basically has
Mhm.
been called, has come up in other like programs that we loved, right?
Mhm.
That the masses were just like, oh, I can't watch that because da 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 da. Da." Lovecraft Country comes to mind.
I also knew that would not get a second season.
I find that so sad.
Yeah,
That show was phenomenal.
it's I mean, and the things they were going to do with the next season and the things that we're going to do, like it's what I love about it the most is that like there was such imagination and like outside of the box thinking and like I don't know, it
Mhm.
it felt
It felt fresh.
so fresh. It just
If you're
watching
familiar with,
one like it. There were just so many shows that like had promise that had us in roles that weren't necessarily tied to our Wealth Country was, but like wasn't necessarily tied to who we are, but very much are who we are, and or how we identify, I should say. And like, it's sad to me that they have not. I mean, Moonlight, people hated that film, and they didn't even see it. You know,
Mhm.
um,
And why? Because of the theme of homosexuality,
yeah. Well,
which is
I heard someone say that they were mad that Mahershala Ali got the award because they're like he's a drug dealer and why are we glorifying that? And I'm like, but I know you listen to hip hop, but I know you watch Juice um
and The Wire and
and The
New Jack
Wire
City
and
and
both of The Wire didn't get any noms. So now that this dude gets one for being a drug dealer, but also caring for this boy that he clearly could see was queer, but like also was like, so what? He's still a child and he deserves to have protection. Like,
right.
dope. And very much a thing that happens in real life. Um,
Mhm.
like, yeah, they did not like it. People would not see that film because of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that is so sad to me. But
Yeah, because I get that there can be some frustration around, what gets nominated or what wins at award shows, because we all know that the academies that make those decisions don't, large and in part, do not look like us, right? The majority of the academies across all film and television, we all know, are a majority white,
right,
just because, they had a long head start before they started even letting us in that space.
right,
And so I get that you would be upset about, Denzel winning for Training Day when he should have won for Malcolm X or whatever the case may be. Those are all fair critiques.
yeah,
But I'm just talking about quality of programming, quality of film, quality of storytelling.
mm-hmm.
Where are we getting lost in our experience as Black people in this world? Where are we getting so lost in that we now can't process quality film and television?
Right, right. It's really sad, but and that's why like it's already hard enough to get a film greenlit or a TV show greenlit. Like you said, like I was telling you, Natasha Rothwell's that show was 8 years in the making. It was apparently like loosely based on her life, or parts of her life. And so
This makes it even more annoying to me that people are reacting to it the way that they are, because this is somebody's life or inspired by. Like, these things are happening.
yep,
These things actually do happen. And maybe that's the problem. People don't want to see the reality. We just, we have to be perfect. So I don't know. I think we're going to miss out on a lot of great storytelling because it's just too hard for a lot of Black people to see Black people in a low vibrational way.
yeah,
And maybe I'm, I could be desensitized because that's another thing too. I'm always like, the shit I saw growing up, like, you know what I mean? And then, you have this new wave of folks who are not from, the hood. They don't know the kind of trauma that we have to process on a day-to-day basis. Not just even experiencing it in your own family, but like I saw a study that said people can be traumatized just by hearing about the guy that got shot up the street,
Yeah.
even if you didn't know him. Just
Yeah.
the proximity to the violence
Yep.
is enough.
Yep.
And if you add up all that I've
Yeah.
seen and processed and all the folks I've lost and the stories that, I have access to in real life, yeah, you start to build up a certain defense to that kind of stuff because it could drive you crazy.
1000%.
So seeing it in a movie is not going to break me. Do you know what I mean? But there are some people who are just like, I can't do it. It's just, it makes me uneasy. It's too much. It's just too much for a lot of people.
Mhm.
There are certain films that are out there that kind of do it for me too. Like I've seen them, but I don't need to see them again because there are a lot. Like 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah.
That's not something that I can keep watching over and over again. Django, on the other hand,
Right.
I know word for word.
Yeah.
Equally as violent, if not more so.
Yeah. But it's the tone and yeah.
But it's more of a hero, we win in the end type situation. So I think that maybe, those things are obviously easier to digest. But again, when you're talking about a TV series, and you don't even see where it goes after the first season because you're so triggered by the fact that this person doesn't have the perfect job, doesn't, look a certain way, doesn't make all the right decisions. Like, that's just good character. Like, I don't know. What do I know, Chris?
I mean, look, don't know. I definitely don't know. So I mean, it's sad to me, but I do hope that I did read she's trying to see about another network maybe picking it up. So it's not, she doesn't want to give up on it. And so I hope that she does find a home for it because I did want to see what happens next to her.
I
And
know. I would love to see that be picked up by someone else.
I mean, there's always Tubi, and I'm not trying to be funny, but like they're there. I'm sure they'll pay for it. Like,
Yeah.
just don't bring it to Zeus. Don't do it.
No, please do not bring it to zoos. But yeah, this is a crazy conversation because this has been happening for a really long time with Black films and TV shows going all the way back to, The Color Purple.
Mhm.
Black community just was not here for that depiction of men, of how Black men were depicted. Never mind the fact that this is a movie about Black women's lives
Right.
during a certain period in history.
Yeah.
These things actually happened. And the way that this story is told is absolutely beautiful. So I'm not understanding.
Yeah, no, people don't play that. They
Yeah.
don't. And maybe that's how it's always been, right? Like, it's just that it's stuff that we're watching now in real time. I mean, at a certain age. Because I remember I was in high school and we were doing some like program for Black History Month. And we had a few scenes from Fences in there. And the teachers were like, yeah, you have to take that out. Like, it's a negative portrayal of Black families and Black men. And I'm like, it's August Wilson. And we're in high school and he's a brilliant playwright. What are we talking about?
Right.
But
Right.
all they could see was the other part,
That begs a question of, how much of our art needs to be sacrificed for our PTSD.
Okay.
Because often the art is the result of the shit that people have been
more
through.
than okay.
The entire genre of hip hop
Right.
is built on
Yeah.
life in the ghetto for Black people,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
So, and we see what happens when we start letting any and every old body into that space who doesn't have that experience. That's how you get to a Drake.
Mm-hmm.
Because people who haven't actually lived it think that they can just step in, play a certain part, And as long as everybody's dancing, everybody's fine. But meanwhile, there are people out here who really live this stuff. And their interpretation through art is, to me, the most authentic.
Right.
And so we're not supposed to consume that because it's not wrapped up in a pretty bow. I don't know. I don't like it, Chris. I don't like it.
Yeah, that. Let's take one final break here, one more break here, because I want to. You really hit something here. So
I know, like I thought we were about to like be okay with wrapping it up, but I feel like I just opened up a can of
you
worms.
open up a can of worms, you got to do it. So let's take a little break here. We'll come back and we'll dig a little deeper into that.
Cool.
All right. No. Yeah. No, because I'm like, I think about even let's look at the Oscars, right? We never really get nominated for our films unless they're biopics. With the exception of a few things like, and the things that we got nominated for people don't like, right? Moonlight, Monsters Ball, Precious, even The Help. Like it always deals with things that we're not proud of. And so Training Day, right? Folks were mad at Training Day for winning, and I get it. It was definitely, he should have been gotten a long time ago, but that doesn't mean the performance wasn't good, right? So,
right.
An Oscar. So it's like he won it for Remember the Titans, like it's fine. It's associated to that film, but you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. So it wasn't Equalizer. Like I keep telling me, it's amazing. So, but
started.
So I'm like,
yeah.
So like those are the kind of films that are regarded. It's like complex characters with, real journeys, you know what I'm saying? Like real powerful scenes. We don't do enough of those. And when we do, our people get mad at them. So it's like, you want what to be nominated for an Oscar? Mea culpa? You want one for, you know what I'm saying? Like what?
Right.
So, it's like, it makes me sad because as a person who likes to watch film and TV, and particularly things that can be a bit, I guess, traumatizing. I think it's sad that we haven't processed enough of our pain to be able to see the value in it when it comes to art.
Absolutely. Yes, that's perfectly put. Like we have to be realistic. And listen, before I even say what I was about to say, let me just preface it by saying that I don't even believe that you necessarily have to live certain things in order to express them artistically. Do you know what I mean? That's why Steven Spielberg was able to do The Color Purple and do it so well. Mm-hmm. That means nothing about being a Black woman in 1930s America.
Right.
But he's a hell of a director.
Yeah.
So his job as that came through when we needed it to come through.
Mm-hmm.
Biggie, my favorite rapper, that man wasn't living half of the shit that he was rapping about in his music. He's just such a good storyteller and a lyricist that he's able to tell any story well, whether he's actually lived it or not, right? So that's not me saying that people just have to swallow, everything that Black people put out that I deem quality because it comes from a place of, our trauma and our triumph over it. It's not necessarily what I'm saying. Right. What I'm saying is if you're going to be screaming from the mountaintops that we are not a monolith on one hand, and then get pissed about the different dynamics that make us up as a people. On the other hand, when it's expressed, in a movie or a TV show, it's almost like you can't have it both ways.
Both ways.
We know that there are successful Black people in this world.
Right.
We know that. When those types of movies and films come out, those movies and films are not for me.
Right.
That's for people who don't think that Black people can be successful or don't know any in real life. That's not my story. I do not need Tyler Perry shoving down my throat the occupations of every character in all of his movies like he does. It's very cheap and cheesy, and nobody else does it.
Nope.
Okay.
Real life, not in
real life, not on any quality TV or film. Like it just isn't done.
Right.
except there, because we have to make it known that we are not all, broke down baby mamas and welfare queens and all of the things. Like, we as a people know that already,
Right.
especially in the year of our Lord 2025, in this good 21st century.
That
Like,
part.
stop it. So I think with how far we've come, that we would be even more apt to accept different facets of who we are.
Right.
We're so removed in real life from a mammy character at this point
Right.
that it's almost laughable now to think that somebody could put that stereotype in front of our faces and it be just blatantly disrespectful to the image of full-figured Black women, and we can't call it out. Like, we know the bullshit when we see it.
Right.
But we can't just put that on everything. You know what I mean? I think we had this conversation before. Like, every time you see a Black plus-size woman in a movie who's helping somebody out, that does not automatically make her a mammy.
Sir, she's a nurse. It's okay.
Like, hello? You're telling me that the character that Shonda Rhimes has had as the head of the hospital on Grey's Anatomy for the past 500 years, that's a Black full-figured woman
Right.
who helps and has carried that hospital on her back
Right.
the whole time that show's been on.
Right.
She's not a mammy.
No.
And she's not glamorous. And she doesn't have to be.
Right. Those are not the only two options. It's not.
Those are not our only option.
It's not glamour or mammy. That's not how this works.
That's not how this works. That's not how this works. So, going back to our days of sitting in Blacks in Cinema.
Yeah.
Back at Temple.
Shout out to that class.
Eugene Haynes.
That's Eugene Hayes, man.
Eugene Haynes was our teacher. He was so funny and so cool.
Hilarious.
But he had us read that book, Toms, Coons, Mulattoes, Mammies, and Bucks.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
An interpretive history of Blacks in American film.
Yep.
Breaks down all the different stereotypes and, going all the way back to the original movie, Birth of a Nation, which had absolutely no Black people in it whatsoever.
Which is crazy.
All white people in blackface, because Black people weren't even allowed to be in movies back then. And then it walks us through history with, the Butterfly McQueen and Hattie McDaniel and Gone with the Wind. And then, Oscar Michaud coming along.
Yep.
Oscar Michaud coming along and deciding that he is going to create films that would have all Black cast, and those characters are not going to be, just maids and butlers and, background figures that are just there to cater to, the white main characters. Like, we've been down this road of people trying to, create some balance in the images that we see of Black people in movies and stuff. And so, you mean to tell me we haven't come far enough from those days to now have a character that isn't perfect without people being traumatized?
Right.
I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right with me. And I would be curious to know, like, because I've never spoken to anybody in real life who actually has like, most of my, friends that I talk about this kind of stuff with also agree with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't really have anybody who can offer me any real, like, counterpoints. And the ones that I would think of, I've thought of. Like, I can, like I said, trying to look at things from other people's perspectives. Yeah, I can see how gratuitous negative images of us can be a bit much.
Yeah.
But I really don't see that happening at the level that some people are trying to make it seem like it's still happening.
I agree.
I feel like we're holding on to something that is not really a thing unless we're making it a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that like I think that look, everything is not for everyone, right? And so I think it's okay to say, I didn't like the show. You know, like it wasn't for me. I didn't find it entertaining. I didn't like the character. I think
I
that's fine.
didn't find it funny.
I
Yeah,
find it funny. Like
fair.
that happens all the time. We've talked about this, and we will talk about it. But to make it this other thing that's like all of a sudden it's attack on who you are, and then like it's reinforcing negative stereotypes or triggering things of trauma. Like I don't want to speak for what's your energy or what's your experience, but also like, come on, it's not like like
Right.
I only feel that way. The only time I ever feel triggered or worried or whatever when I see us on screen is when it deals with slavery. That's the only time that I like, and like my mom, for example, can't watch anything with anything like dealing with rape or anything like that. Like, so
Fair.
the beginning of The Butler, I think it is, Mariah Carey and whatnot, and like they take her off the field and whatnot. My mom was ready to walk out the theater apparently because she was like, "What is this? I'm going to the movies to enjoy myself. I don't want to see this." You know what I mean?
Right.
I understand those situations, and I'm with you or with everyone on them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because even something like "I May Destroy You," right, was triggering for a lot of people. But also, right, that was the point, right, for you to kind of not,
Isn't and that's how
you,
I see it. If there
yeah,
is a film that has a hard scene like that, like a sexual assault scene
yeah,
or anything like that, like my takeaway from it is, was it necessary?
right,
Did it have a purpose?
right,
Was it to jar you emotionally? Because
right,
sometimes that's the point.
right,
That's why we consume what we consume. It's supposed to have an emotional, effect on us. We're supposed to have an emotional reaction to it, right? So, because
mhm,
if we don't, it's automatically considered not good.
right,
So, yeah, I am not expecting to laugh in a sexual assault scene. I'm not expected to feel
absolutely,
good about watching somebody who looks like me being whipped or hung from a tree.
right, right,
But also, I'm a full adult with a range of feelings, and sometimes they're not all going to be good.
right, yep, yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, a little bit of it comes across as like, grow up.
Childish behavior.
Shit is childish.
Yeah,
Like, we
yeah,
all know that people go through stuff. And this is the difference between, our art, quote unquote, and others, right? Because historically, Black art, going all the way back to Africa, is not about art for art's sake.
right.
And I think that that is still a issue that we, have not fully come to terms with. Like the tradition of African art forms and African descended art forms always came from a place of having a bigger purpose,
Right.
right? Like even our dancing is tied to ritual or trying to
Right.
conjure something, or,
Yep.
art for art's sake is a very Eurocentric concept.
Yep.
Very Eurocentric concept. Like it is just created for consumption
Right.
with them.
Yep.
Trying to get those two worlds together can be very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it because, as I said before, a lot of our art comes from our pain and trauma.
Right.
We don't have the luxury of just, painting something
Right.
and it just be the painting. It always has to be, the painting by the Black artist.
Right. Yep. That's the other thing too, right? Like our art is also, yeah, it's quantified by.
It's always quantified by who we are identity wise, right? So
Mhm.
this is a problem for us, though, because we live in a society that forces you to make a choice.
Mm.
Either you want to be involved and recognized,
Mhm.
or you don't.
Yeah.
And if you're going to make everything inaccessible to everybody else on the planet except for Black people, that's fine and that's your choice.
Right.
But that's not how you're going to be successful doing what you're doing.
That part.
Because you still need to pay, people still need to eat at the end of the day.
Right.
It's the same thing with us having products and trying to be successful at what we're doing in a certain field and then being anti-capitalism. Okay, well, capitalism is how your shit is going to put food on your table. So I don't know,
Yeah. Which one is it?
Which one is it?
You want to make money off your art and it sustain you? Or do you want to just do it because you want it insular? Like at some point.
Yeah, because you could be the singing bus driver and nobody will care. And you'll be a wonderful talent driving those children back and forth to school.
Right.
But if you want to do singing or movies or whatever for a living, there are certain things that are going to come along with that. Yeah. And, it has to be about the work first, unfortunately.
Yeah.
For whatever it's worth. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying that is what it is.
Yeah.
And this is coming from somebody who's both creative and a businesswoman.
Right.
I'm telling you, you cannot have it both ways.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not in this moment in history.
Especially not now. Yeah.
Maybe down the line, some, stars might realign and change the way that things work. But if you want to actually eat off of what it is that you do creatively, you're going to have to make it not be so like it becomes like I don't think polarizing is the word that I'm looking for, but like almost that too. And I get like if you look at like a Kendrick Lamar performance from the Super Bowl to, make it full circle. Yeah. That man's putting out his art. He did that whole show and we knew exactly who he had in mind when he did it. Yeah. And whoever liked it, and whoever didn't. I'm from the school of thought of because we are the culture, our shit's going to be consumed regardless.
That's it.
By everyone.
Yep.
That's just the nature of who we are and our place in this world.
Right.
So we don't have to make it so blackety black.
Yeah.
At the expense of our success.
Right.
Just do it.
Yeah.
You being the Black person who did it makes it Black.
Right. Every time. Unless you're going to take your name off of it or cast only white character, actors or whatever the case may be.
And even still, I'm from the school of thought that more Black people behind the scenes should be doing more stuff with white cast members or non-Black cast members.
Yep.
To prove that we can do shit for everybody.
Yeah.
That's how you get your shit out there.
Nothing but old girl who produced that movie, that Idea of You, that with Anne Hathaway, that she was a Black woman or whatever, and I didn't know that. You know what I mean? Like
nobody knew that a Black woman wrote that book that movie was based on.
Yep.
And she even said that she struggled or would have struggled getting that made into a movie if she did not go the Anne Hathaway route.
Right. Yeah.
So what we're saying is that she shouldn't want to get her book made into a movie because it was Anne Hathaway and not Issa Rae. Like,
basically.
I don't think we're going to do very well if we keep that mind frame. I just don't think that, to me, that is very limiting.
I agree.
And boxing us in.
Yep.
There's not even enough of us to sustain.
Right. There's like one major director every 2-3 years, and you may not hear from them again. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, I can't even tell who it is now. I guess no, I don't even know. But yeah,
somebody will have a moment again. You know what I mean? Like that, because that becomes the issue of like our stuff becomes just a trend or a moment.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you make yourself so insular.
Right.
That's why when Spike Lee started branching out and
Mhm.
did movies like The 25th Hour and Inside Man, and there's stuff that people were like, damn, this is Spike Lee? Like, yeah, just making a movie.
Like a movie.
Just making a movie as a director.
Right.
And look, and there's not a bit of slavery or Black Panther movement or any of the things. It's just a movie.
Right.
And it's fine.
More than fine. It's all good.
We have enough for everybody. Our lives are so dynamic. Our stories are so varied that we can afford to show all the sides, even the ones that aren't pretty.
Right. Right.
That's just my take. What do I know?
No, I mean that's 1000% it. And I think that until we get there, we're gonna find this divide between things that are really bad and things that are insular and nuanced and don't get the chance to shine because they are. And we've got to be able to bridge the gap a bit more, and we've got to be able to like continue to leave space for all different types of stories. And they don't always have to resonate with you just because they're Black people.
Correct.
You know, like it's okay. That movie wasn't for me. That TV show I didn't like. I didn't really care for this. It's fine. You know, like it doesn't have to be this huge to do. It doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean they failed. It doesn't mean like, you know, it's just like, just create, you know, start with a good story and then you're halfway there, you know.
Pretty much.
Um,
Pretty much. I don't know. This conversation got a little heavier.
I'm mad, yo. I'm like, I'm like really like I'm sitting here. Like,
I blame Kendrick.
yeah, I mean, look, I feel like Kendrick might have opened the portal for more madness, like Cat Williams opened the portal in 2024.
Yeah.
And that's all I'll say about that. But but in general, I ain't trying to be the subject of a new record from Kendrick. But
No, that man will drag you for blood. Okay.
no, and I'm not gonna fight fair. Like, so yeah, we're not doing it.
Okay. Yeah, no, this is a conversation, right? Like this.
For sure, it's a conversation. Justice for How to Die Alone, and more film and TV that's just different and it tells different stories. I mean, like even earlier, like we love a rom-com, but like, is that? I guess like what else? Like what else? You know, like maybe the other stories is what I'm saying. Coming from the guy who watched 2 episodes of a show on Zeus, I know this may not hold much weight.
Listen, well,
but I will say that proved my point that it's about flexibility throughout the story.
Man. This is about balance, you know?
Yeah.
It's about balance. You know, I love a good mix between rashness and sophistication. Like, this is about balance. And I think that there are just some people out there who, you know, their plight and their personal journey just doesn't allow for them to embrace certain aspects of our storytelling and our art forms and stuff like that. And it is okay, but it's just something that I personally don't get, you know, like I don't get it. I don't like it. What are you going to do though? What are you going to do? Everybody has the right to like what they like, right? But again, we're talking about artistic expression at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And whether you want that to be, you know, something that's just for you and just makes you feel good because you see yourself and you like, okay. That's cool. But then just recognize where, you know, the quality level is going to go when you keep allowing for that kind of stuff.
Right.
because there is a difference between, making something just for the sake of it being your job and making something because it's art. And we already have somebody who's making something just because it's their job.
Right.
And his stuff is not on the level of the people who are doing it because it's really an art form, and film just so happens to be the medium that they're using.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Like, we need more quality things. That is the way and the wave. But man,
I'm telling you, because there are going to be a lot of stories that don't get told if
right.
we keep cloaking everything in this, don't show us this way type of situation. It's first of all, it reeks of identity politics to me. Like, that whole mind frame screams, these Black boys need to pull their pants up.
Oof. Yeah.
Like, I don't think people are making that connection.
I don't think they are either.
I
Yeah.
don't think like they're not making the connection of like, you can't force all of us because who is it for at that point? Like I said, we know that different types of Black people exist and live different kinds of lives on every level of the spectrum, from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. So who are you trying to impress
That part.
by never showing us being flawed?
Right.
And
You
then
know,
they'll show like Blackish and
mhm.
say that was for white people. That wasn't for us. Da, 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 da. Okay. A successful Black family with a doctor for a mom and an executive for a dad, and all the kids are flourishing and thriving, and that's not for us. Like,
Okay. Then I
what
can't.
is it?
What is it? Which one is it?
Which one is it?
Like,
And it's never good to think that like just what you see is everybody's thing, because that's blog journalism, right? You find two comments on
yeah.
on a post and then say the
Yep.
world thinks blah blah blah.
Right.
No, those people think blah blah blah. That's not what everybody is saying, and you did not poll everybody, and you did not read all of the comments about this subject matter. But we all know that the negativity is always the loudest, right? So that's what's going to show up first and foremost, is the people who think negatively about something.
Mhm.
I've seen more, critiques and criticisms of How to Die Alone than I've seen people in support of it who are sad because it's getting canceled because they really liked it. And, maybe we're outnumbered, but I can't just take what I'm seeing online as the overall thought about what people have to say about the show, but it did get canceled. So,
Right. Right.
people who didn't like it were definitely heard by the powers that be.
Right.
Um, but it is, a thing because we've seen it before. We saw it with Hallie's win with Monsters Ball. We saw
Hmm.
it with, people's critique of Moonlight, like you said. We saw it with The Color Purple. Um, these people do tend to speak up and be very loud about their disapproval
Hmm.
when the image doesn't fit what they think it should be.
Right.
And I'm telling you, if we want things to be recognized, and if we want to have a place at the table, and all the things that we as a collective say that we deserve as far as our output,
Right.
we got to chill on some of that stuff.
Truly, like, ugh, it makes me upset, and I just want better. And it maybe have to be the change I want to see, but I just
Yeah.
makes me sad that we limit ourselves in that way, and we limit people who want to create that in that way because it wasn't what we particularly liked.
Because what other, quirky, full figure woman could have been inspired by, what they saw in How to Die Alone, and then went and, penned their own version of, or you know what I mean? Like everybody deserves to be seen.
Yep.
And everybody deserves to be seen in a way that the creator
That,
wants it.
that part.
Like, I don't need a lawyer telling me about, well, listen, let me shut up.
Okay. Well, on that note,
I'm gonna be quiet.
on that
You
note,
know, it's very easy for me to come across as said hated character. So I'm gonna relax. But I will end my little rant by saying that I just want everybody to have a chance to be heard.
yeah,
I want everybody to have a chance to be heard. Just like I think it's important for, you know, Kendrick's music to be out there, as well as, I guess, Future's or whoever, you know, would be the opposite.
yeah,
Because there's plenty of stuff that I don't like,
word.
and I just don't consume it.
That part, I just doesn't. Oh, that's not for me. But I'm not gonna like get it off the airwaves. How
Oh
dare
my God, right. I don't need to talk about it on Twitter.
you? Like it's not for me, and I just I move. You
Just
don't.
don't tune in.
It's not like you're at the radio is forced onto your apartment, and you have to listen to songs or whatever. It's like you play your own music. It's fine. Like whatever. So
Yeah, you control it at the end of the day, what you consume. And if you don't like it, it's fine, but just like don't consume it. These ink pieces about
we never need the think piece. Just so we're clear there.
God.
That we never need. That you can always keep in the desk. Like we never need it. Like it's fine. Yeah.
No, we do. We should have people talking about things, I guess. But the takes just aren't hot though. Like the takes are just like, it made me sad. Shut up.
Okay. It happened.
Good. It
Yeah.
conjured up an emotion in you. That's what it's
Yeah.
supposed to do.
Right. If
Like,
you felt nothing, it was blank or blah, then that'd be like, okay, that's one thing. But like you felt something. So,
yeah. Or if it was meant to be funny and it wasn't funny,
right.
then that would be a completely different story. But somebody just not giving something a chance because the person is giving a depiction of Black people or overweight people or insert whatever here,
Mm-hmm.
that is only our shit.
Right.
That is sadly, the thought process of an oppressed people.
Yeah.
And people who are desperately trying to, have some control over certain aspects of life because they come from a legacy of not having control over their own lives, bodies. Like I get it. I get it. That is the trauma.
Right.
But the response to that is to let us do what we want, not to box us in and limit us from doing certain shit, to allow us to do all the things. That's the response to that. So, I don't know. I could be wrong.
I mean, no, you're not. But yeah, but word like. Oh,
Well, this was a little heavy.
We're gonna have to talk about something super light next time.
Yeah, we got a little political on this one.
But necessary conversation to have. So
Totally. Absolutely. I think so. I mean, what would be the point of this podcast if we didn't get,
maybe I get deep sometimes. Gotta get into the,
Yeah, we're not just sitting around being couch potatoes watching TV for no reason. Like, especially me, because I really don't have the time. So
Yeah.
if I'm getting into it, it's because I'm looking at things, from different angles. My art background, my journalism background, pop culture background, it all, having, theater kids and musicians as parents, like there's a lot that comes into it for me. So I'm never just looking at it from a one-dimensional view.
Oh yeah, never. No. It's always multi. Yeah, what like you were talking about earlier, like substance, peeping like the color things and how it's shot, and you know
Mm-hmm.
those kind of things. Yeah, it's hard for me. And that's usually why I watch movies by myself, um, because I need to get
Absolutely.
into the into the nitty gritty, if you will, of the details. But yeah, nah, it's not just something that's on in the background. I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Well, all right.
locked in. We're locked in.
Cool.
So
Good time. Yeah.
I wonder
Um,
what people are gonna say about what we
I
talked
don't
about.
know. And hey, Natasha Rothwell, come and talk to us. I'm putting it out there.
Yeah.
Like, come in,
We're here for you, sis.
whatever you want to come talk about, we want to hear.
I
I want to chat with you, and we want
love
to
her.
questions. She's
I
supposed.
love her. Well, the good news is we can end on a positive note
Yeah,
because Survival of the Thickest is getting another
it
season.
sure is. Yep.
And
I'm
I'm
very happy
happy
about
about
that.
that.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
Me
I'm
too.
very happy about that. So we will get to see a character who doesn't look like, typically accepted Hollywood standard type stuff,
Mhm.
we get to see her doing her thing again. So I love it. And I think she's hilarious.
I
So
do too. Yeah, I think that show's great. Yeah.
I'm so here for most of, what she's doing. I think I've consumed it all. And I'm only saying most because I don't think I've even seen all of the things that she's done. She's fairly recent on my radar.
Yeah.
But I've seen some stand up from her that I liked. And when I see her in, TV shows and movies and stuff like that, I enjoy. So I'm glad that that show is coming back.
Me too. And I'll be tuned in. And White Lotus as well. Natasha Rothwell is on that. And so we're going to support her there. And
So is she back for this season?
yeah, she's on this season.
Oh,
Yeah,
good. I did not know that. I wasn't sure. Okay, cool.
she's back. So, but I'm already, yeah, she's back, but I'm a little nervous. I'll just say that. So, yeah. But
All
yeah.
right. That I'll get into that. We'll chat.
All right, cool. Well, until next time, this is, as always, been fun and eye opening and all that. And yeah, well, until next time, we'll see you guys soon or hear you guys soon.
We surely will.
All right. Peace.
Bye.